Numbers chapter 25, verse 1. Okay, so just going to tell you where we are. The children of Israel, they've left Egypt. It's been many years. They're going around the desert. Moses is still there, and they keep camping in different areas. Okay. Now Israel remained in Acacia Grove, and the people began to commit harlotry with the women of Moab. They invited the people to the sacrifices of their gods, and the people ate and bowed down to their gods. So Israel was joined to Baal of Peor, and the anger of the Lord was aroused against Israel. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Take all the leaders of the people and hang the offenders before the Lord out in the sun, that the fierce anger of the Lord may turn away from Israel." So Moses said to the judges of Israel, "Every one of you kill his men who were joined to Baal of Peor." And indeed, one of the children of Israel came and presented to his brethren a Midianite woman in the sight of Moses and in the sight of all the congregation of the children of Israel, who were weeping at the door of the tabernacle meeting. Now, when Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron the priest, saw it, he rose from among the congregation and took a javelin in his hand, and he went after the man of Israel into the tent and thrust both of them through, the man of Israel and the woman through her body. So the plague was stopped among the children of Israel, and those who died in the plague were 24,000. Okay, what does this all mean? So what happened was, they got to this place, okay, people of God, they got to this place, and they found foreign people. And God had warned them several times. These foreign people, they're not like us. They don't worship me like you worship me. They're people who have weird ways. Do not mingle with them. Do not talk with them. Do not marry with them. Do not enjoy yourselves with them. They're people who worship literally the devil and idols. What did they do? They found the women of these Midianite women, these women of Baal of Peor, okay? And they found them very pretty, and they're like, oh, this is foreign fruit, this is great. So they started to engage in harlotry and defile their bodies and enter into fornication and adultery and all that with these foreign women. Now, as you all know, men are very, very dumb. So what happens is, once a man falls after a woman, it's very easy for her to ask whatever she wants. So what happened was, these women started to say, okay, now you've fallen in love with us, come and let us show you our God. Who is this God? Their God is called Baal, or God of Peor, nakedness. So it's basically a sex god. So what happened was, they went from defiling their bodies, okay? So they started to sacrifice to this God of nakedness, and in sacrificing to the God of nakedness, it became, as you can imagine, a big show of sin and sexuality and parties of sexuality, basically like the world we live in right now. Okay? Very, very similar. So what happened was, God was so repulsed, he was so disgusted, he was so fed up, that he said, okay, you want to join your bodies, which I've consecrated to me. You've watched me open the Red Sea. You've watched me take care of you by fire at night and a cloud during the day. You've watched me give you food literally from heaven, and now you are worshiping the God of nakedness, all because of these women that you decided that you want to engage with. So he hit them with a very strong plague in which 20,000, 24,000, something like that, people died. Okay? What happened was, they're all crying and doing what they usually do, is they get sad and they go to the tabernacle, the tent of the tabernacle meeting, and they're all crying outside, and they're all like asking for forgiveness, and there's this plague. It gets real when there's a plague, right? And what happens is, this one guy decides that he didn't get the memo, okay? So he's still in the midst of all this mess, and everyone's crying and wailing. He still goes out and finds a woman, and he's so happy, and he brings her in front of everyone as they're crying, whatever, and he's like, come, we will have a good time. And he takes her with him into her tent, okay? And they start to commit sinful acts of fornication or adultery. And who sees this happening? This man called Phinehas, okay, who we're going to talk about today. Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, who was the priest, whose father was Aaron. So it goes Aaron, Eleazar, Phinehas. Those were the priests of Israel. Okay, so this guy is the grandchild of Aaron himself. he sees this happening, he gets so angry, the Bible calls it zeal. He takes a javelin, he follows him into the tent, and he throws it so hard that he spears the man. It goes through the man and then through the woman, and those who were joined in sin are now literally joined, okay, with a javelin in death, okay? And from there, God says what? What does God say? He says, and I'm very sorry that I'm very slow, okay? Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron the priest, has turned back my wrath from the children of Israel, because he was zealous with my zeal among them, so that I did not consume the children of Israel in my zeal. Therefore say, behold, I give to him my covenant of peace, and it shall be to him and his descendants after him a covenant of an everlasting priesthood, because he was zealous for his God and made atonement for the children of Israel. Okay, so we're going to take a little break because I have a funny story to tell you. So Mirai remembered that we liked the story of Phinehas a lot because when we were younger, Yani, like sitting where you guys are sitting, someone came from outside and gave us a topic about the zeal of Phinehas, right? So she forgot the story, but just remember that we liked him. So on my way out, she's about to do Bible time with the kids. So she's like, wait, today before Daddy leaves, he will do Bible time. And I'm like, I am? And she's like, yes, he'll tell us about Phinehas. And I was like, what's that, Habibti? So I'm looking at her like this, I'm not going to tell them about it. She's like, no, tell us the story. And I'm like, I can't tell you the story. And the kids are like, tell us, Daddy, tell us. And they're sitting down already. And I was like, oh boy. So needless to say, I didn't give him any details whatsoever. I just told him, he's a good guy, good priest. I thought, so now, going back to Phinehas, okay? I call him Phinehas sometimes, Phinehas. It depends which audio Bible you listen to. The lady's either really ingrained in saying Phinehas or Phinehas. Doesn't matter, and who cares? All this to say, what is zeal? What do you guys think zeal is? What is the word zeal? Because I'm going to say it a lot. Tell anybody.
Is it like grit? Like
no.
Zeal, grit? No?
Not grit. No.
Great energy or enthusiasm in pursuit of a cause or objective.
Hey, it's
I
grit.
love that you use Google because that's what I did too. Excellent.
It's grit.
No, it's not grit, because grit it's like you're rugged. Grit is rugged, like you get beat down, you get back up. This is not rugged. This is pursuit of a cause or an objective. It's passion. Synonyms for zeal, other words for zeal are passion, ardor, fervor, fire, intensity. They even on Google, I don't agree with it very much, fanaticism. They say fanaticism, and I'll tell you why I don't agree with it when we get to it. But those are the things that zeal means. If you look at the English Standard, it says jealousy. Okay? He says in that he was jealous with my jealousy, but that doesn't even give it what it means. Zealous is really like great fire and passion for an objective or a goal. Okay? And in this, you see the zeal of someone in the Old Testament. You see, he was so zealous for what was right, between what was right and what was wrong, that his anger took him to a point where he wanted to kill sin. Okay? Some people look at this and are like, this is anger and murder, and no, this wasn't against people, this was against sin. Okay? Because he was zealous for God. But let's now switch. Okay, if you guys have Bibles, that would be very helpful, so I'm not doing all the switching. But let's go to Acts chapter 9, verse 10. Okay, we're going to look at someone else who's zealous. Someone else who's zealous in the New Testament. Okay, Acts chapter 9, verse 10. Now there was a certain disciple at Damascus named Ananias, and to him the Lord said in a vision, Ananias. And he said, here I am, Lord. So the Lord said to him, arise and go to the street called Straight, and inquire at the house of Judas for one called Saul of Tarsus. For behold, he is praying, and in a vision he has seen a man named Ananias coming in and putting his hand on him so that he might receive his sight. If you guys remember, St. Paul had gone blind because he got a vision on the road. He met Jesus, and now he's waiting for this disciple to come. And Ananias answered, Lord, I have heard from many about this man, how much harm he has done to your saints in Jerusalem. And there he has authority from the chief priest to bind all who call on your name. But the Lord said to him, go, for he is a chosen vessel of mine to bear my name before Gentiles, kings, and the children of Israel. for I will show him how many things he must suffer for my name's sake. So then we fast forward and we say to him, why? Why this guy? Why Saul of Tarsus? Such an angry man. Why such an angry man, such a man who was persecuting? Why did he just take one of the disciples he already had? Why this Saul to make him Paul, St. Paul, who basically half the New Testament is written by, who converted basically all of us, thanks to him, are Christian. Okay? And we go, and it's one verse in Philippians 3:16 from the words of St. Paul himself. He said, he's trying to tell them like his qualifications for the ministry and why God chose him. So he lists a million things, but then he gets to concerning zeal, persecuting the church, concerning the righteousness which is in the law, blameless. So he's basically telling them what? He's like, I'm blameless in everything, and my zeal, okay, in my zeal I was persecuting the church. So we say, why? Why this man? He was zealous for God. It was misguided. It was not informed, because he was persecuting the wrong people. But if you ask, why did God choose him? God could have chosen anybody. But he chose St. Paul because of zeal, because he was zealous. And we saw his zeal when he started persecuting everyone, going across all nations to find these Christians, okay, to put them away, because he couldn't fathom that they were basically blaspheming and saying that this Jesus was God, right? Until Jesus told him, what are you doing? And when he saw the light, his zeal, his zealousness, is what made him the St. Paul that we know, okay? So, continuing. What does this have to do with me? Okay? Why are we talking about this Phinehas guy? Why are we talking about spiritual zeal? And the reason is very simple. We live now in an age where we suffer from a great disease. And the disease is called carelessness or apathy. Okay? We live in the golden age for the devil, of carelessness and apathy. So I'll give you a couple of things that you might hear on the street and you might understand some more. The first of which is old, okay, but you've all probably heard it, YOLO, okay? So this is old, it's not hip, it's not new anymore, there's different variants, but you only live once, okay? And any of you who have ever heard me have someone say the word YOLO to me will see what zeal looks like, because I don't go around with a javelin, I go with a ship, okay? And if I hear the word YOLO, ask him, مرة كان بيحصل لكم إيه لو قلت له YOLO؟ كان في ضرب كذا, okay? Regardless of what it was, there was going to be pain and suffering if I heard the phrase, you only live once, okay? You hear that, you hear, I'm young, I have time. You hear, am I supposed to just be a monk, Am I supposed to be Abuna? This is the thing you hear, especially from the guys like عايزني أترهبن, okay? Or people tell you, don't be a fanatic. It's not good to be a fanatic. Everything in moderation. These are nice things you hear, okay? Or people that come and tell you it's a different time. I was talking with one of the youth, okay, who suffers from the weakness of smoking, which is like, it's what's new. Many people in the world, it's not, it's a big deal, but it's okay. So he's telling me about this, and we're talking about it. And then I'm like, but Habib, this doesn't work, and we're going back and forth. He's like, but how do you know? There was no cigarettes in Jesus' time. That's a great excuse, okay? It's a great careless excuse, as if to negate, if Jesus was back in the time, he would be doing commercials for Marlboro. It's foolishness. Or the beautiful one, God wants us to be happy and successful. Okay, but at what cost? Yes, God wants us to be successful spiritually, but there's nowhere in the Bible that says God wants us to be driving Lamborghinis and CEOs. Like there's no verse for this in the Bible. So we suffer from carelessness, spiritual carelessness. We're very careful about everything else. We're very careful about our studies. We're very careful about our image. We're very careful about how long it takes us in the bathroom to get every strand of our hair perfectly. Okay, we're very careful about what we wear, that we never wear the same thing twice, because God forbid, if someone sees the same thing, they'll be like, he wears the same thing twice, or we're very careful about every little thing. We've even taken it to the point where we're so careful about the ingredients while we're fasting, okay? So it used to be a time where fasting is like, I don't like it, I eat it, we move on, it's fine, this is how it works, vegetables, tabik, whatever. Now we try to find the cheese in the vegan aisle that melts properly so that it can mimic the proper non-fasting cheese the perfect way. So we're very careful about the weirdest things. And guys, I actually forgot to give a disclaimer. This was the first thing, the most important thing for me to tell you before all this is like this topic was for me. I'll never stand before you and give you a topic for you. I suffer greatly, and it's not something I'm just saying as a like, oh, okay, no, really, I suffer greatly from a lack of zeal, from carelessness, okay? And one of the things that I prefer that like I can finally get once in my life in the future is this type of zeal for God. Okay? So all this applies to me. That's why I know them so well, all these examples of cheese and
So
fake
have you found
pepperoni.
the perfect cheese that melts?
I have. I'll
You
tell you
did?
what it is.
Yeah,
It's
you
my
have to.
cheese. Yeah. And I found the pepperoni that goes really well
Oh,
with it.
wow.
Don't worry. And it's fake pepperoni. It's yummy. It's yummy. So this is why I know these things, because I suffer from it. So why are we talking about careless, like zeal? We're talking about it because we suffer of this disease, this virus, this infection that is called carelessness and apathy. But when we look at the Gospels, okay, so now we've gone through the Old Testament, we've gone through the St. Paul's epistles. Jesus himself gives parables, okay, that show what zeal is supposed to look like. If you go to Matthew chapter 13, verse 44 and 45, they're two very, very simple parables. They're like one verse each, literally. The kingdom of heaven is like treasure hidden in a field, which a man found and hid, and for joy over it, goes and sells all that he has and buys the field. The next one. The kingdom of heaven, again he says, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant seeking beautiful pearls, who when he had found one pearl of great price, went and sold all that he had and bought it. What's weird about this? Does anybody realize what's weird about these two parables? Like if you look at them financially, look at them financially. Do these make sense in this world that we live in? Does one sell all that they have to get one pearl, or do they find the one pearl that's very rare, sell it to become rich? Isn't that how the world would work? So think about it. In everything, you find a treasure. Do you keep the treasure and hoard it to yourself, or a pearl, or do you go and sell it? So if you guys watch Discovery Channel, there's like those guys that go scuba diving and look for like wrecks and treasures. Do they ever find something super rare and just keep it in their house? The whole point of finding the rare thing is to sell it and make money off it. That's how they make a living. Jesus is doing the opposite in this parable. He's saying to get to the treasure, you sell everything that you have and then buy the treasure. But Jesus, that makes no sense. Then I don't have anything left. All I have is a pearl. But what he's trying to say is this is the inverse. The inverse of the world tells you. The world will tell you, okay, you have treasure, you have assets, you have investments. The word investment and assets, like you can just sit and watch television for like 1 minute and there will be 900 commercials about assets and investments and retirement plans and education plans and God knows what plans. Okay? So the people will tell you what? You need to have these things, and if you have them, a good job. Good job to you. You have investments, you have assets, you have money, things in the bank. Alright, great. What Jesus is saying, you get rid of all that to get the real treasure. Okay, the pearl. The world's telling you, no, you find the pearl, you sell it, and then you have investments. But Jesus is saying that's not how it works. You're supposed to give up the investments to get to the pearl. But that's because no one understands what this pearl is. Same thing for the treasure. So what is it that we have? We have money, but that's not it. Everyone always focuses on money. And then there's this whole bad rap. They're like, all the church wants money. No, the church actually always usually lists money last. They tell you your time is most important. Fasting. We always talk about fasting. You have food. Why do we say fast? So that you can give me the food? No. You fast because being like zeal and being zealous tells us fast. Give up the treasure of the stomach so that you can get the pearl. Okay, give up the money of the stomach to get the pearl. It tells you stay awake, give up comfort so that you can get the pearl. It tells you give charity, give to the poor so that you can get the pearl. Give up relaxation and work harder for the kingdom of heaven so that you can get the pearl. But the world says completely opposite. They say, no. You work hard so that you can relax. You work hard so that you can eat. You work hard so that you can sleep. You work hard so that you can go on vacation and relax. But this is counter of what the Bible is telling us, okay? So a lot of us have accepted the norm that the world sells us, as what we're supposed to be doing. But really, if we look at spiritual zeal, if we look at what it means to be zealous, it means to give up what we have, to find the pearl, to sell everything that we have, everything that we are, everything that comforts us, everything that satisfies us for the pearl. What is the pearl? The pearl is the kingdom of heaven. So, carelessness and apathy. What's the other problem? So that's the first problem, is that now we live in the golden age of apathy. The second problem is we live in the golden age of normalization of sin. Okay? So, we now don't even realize anymore. And it brought to my attention, as last week, okay, I was somewhere and a song came on. It's just like general outside, and a song came on by Pitbull, okay? It's fine. And this has become so normal to me that I stopped even hearing, like, it's Pitbull, whatever, who cares? Like, Mr. 305, it's okay. No one understands what he's saying because he's speaking Mexican English half the time, okay? Okay? He's fine. And then someone came up to me and he said, have you read the lyrics to the song? I'm like, not really, no. And man, it's the most graphic, pornographic, like, auditory sensation that you could possibly have if you actually imagine or look at the time about what he's saying. But no one ever thinks about it. And this is now on normal radio waves. It used to be that, like, it's really funny because if you like Mix 96 or 92.5, or all that, you know, the clean airwaves, there's no swear words, right? God forbid there would be swear words. But a man literally gives you the steps of how to undress a woman, which is the song, okay? That's perfectly kosher on these airwaves. So you have like these children walking around being like, 1 and 2, I'll undress you, msharif 3 and 4, okay? And you're like sitting there and you're like, wait, what? And you're reading the lyrics and you're like, well, il hasal. When did this become okay? Or I'm sitting down with my children and I'm watching like my basketball and I'm like, guys, come watch, it's okay. And they're like, we'll watch basketball with daddy. They look at it as a treat, like we get to watch adult programming, okay? Because obviously I cannot let them watch anything else other than cartoons. So if a basketball or football game's on, and then there's like commercials about, you know, all the stuff that there is like for sexuality and this, that, whatever, and I have to sit there and be like, immediately find the remote or cover my children's face, whichever one's closer. Like, and sometimes they'll just be walking and suddenly it's like, they're like, Daddy, what's wrong? I'm like, how do you know? I'm just playing a game called Peekaboo. They're like, oh, fun, Daddy. And I take my hand off. I'm like, okay, the commercial's gone. They're like, let's keep playing. I'm like, no. And then they're very confused as to why I have like Tourette's when it comes to playing with them. Okay? This is the problem. The normalization. Where does this normalization come back? If I told you adultery, you'd all be like, Hasha, no adultery. We are against adultery. I'd tell you, fantastic, we're against adultery. I tell you fornication, you'd be like, no, I'm Christian. Are you crazy? I tell you pornography. This is a taboo word. We don't say this word. Are you crazy? Lying, swearing, all this, fantastic. We can all be on the same page as saying these are wrong. I don't have to sit and convince anyone in this room, thankfully, because this is like hand-picked people, okay? It's not people from the street where I'm like, actually, no. So all this but now if I convert this into, okay, you tell me fornication and adultery is not okay, but do you approve them through your choices of music? Do you approve them through your choices of television? Do you approve them through your movie choices? So, I had a servant once tell me, no joke, not long ago, Game of Thrones. And you don't have to hide it, there's a crazy Game of Thrones, and some of you watch it. The first thing that and this is the funniest thing, so I've never watched, I never got into it, okay? I usually get into, like, all these, like, series that are very, like, because I, like, you know, stuff that grabs you, it's fine, fantastic. I came, and everyone's talking, but church people talking about Game of Thrones, it's not outside. And then every time I ask someone, they're like, yeah, it's amazing, but I just gotta warn you, it's very pornographic. And I'm like, okay, that's fantastic, that's great, but at what point were you gonna, like, in the amazing, the scheming, the this and that, but yeah, it's mildly pornographic. It's like, Habibi, we're not okay with that, right? So people will talk about it, it's an amazing show, it grabs you, whatever. On the side, if I tell you, okay, are we okay with adultery and fornication? Tell me, of course not. Are you crazy? Adultery and fornication? We're Christian. But then I tell you, but why are we watching and putting money into hands of people who are placing this in front of us and our children and our everything, right? So this is what I mean, because anyone can see like, oh great, I don't commit adultery, fantastic, I'm going straight to heaven. No, but that's not what it means. Zeal, this Phinehas was not like, he was not committing adultery. He saw someone else commit adultery, he took a javelin and harpooned them together. Okay, because of his hatred of sin. I can't say that I'm zealous, because zeal for Christ means I hate what makes Christ sad. I hate what makes Christ hurt. And what hurts him is sin. What hurts him is all the evil that is in the world today. So I can't on one side be like, God, I'm zealous for you, I'll never do this to you, I love you. But just 1 second, because Sex and the City is on television and it's a very good show, yani, it's clean, yani, we'll fast forward the bad part. It doesn't work. It doesn't make sense that way. I can't be like, God, I hate what makes you sad, I hate what you hate. But 1 second, Mr. 305 is telling me how to undress another human being on Mix 96, like where children are listening. You can't mix these two things together. It doesn't work. You can't listen to music that has poisonous things and then tell yourself, no, I'm okay. But then people come back and go, so what, you want me to be a monk? No, I want you to be zealous for God. Because if you were mad at someone and I'm your brother, and you told me, I don't want you to talk to this person anymore, out of love for your brother or sister, you're going to be like, okay, honey, it's fine, but you're not going to be best friends with this person just because it hurts your brother. How much more for our God? If we want to be pained by the things that pain him, if we want to be saddened by the things that sadden him, we want to be appalled by the things that appall him, then how much more should we dissociate from the things that he can't stand, right? It's not a matter of, I don't commit them, but it's okay, I can improve them. So what we can't allow ourselves to do is normalize sin as the world has normalized sin. And the devil is brilliant at doing it because he puts it in ways that it doesn't even register. You're just, like the lyrics of a song, you can be singing and then you stop and you're like, what am I saying? Or the scenes of a television show that you saw, and I'm the first that's guilty. It's very difficult in the world we live in because it seems that Satan is in control of everything. The next thing about zeal, so the first thing was carelessness, okay? We've become so careless with our own spirituality. We always tell ourselves excuses of why we shouldn't be zealous for God. The second one is we've become normalized to the sin in the world. The third one is, do we defend the truth? Do we defend the truth? Okay? So people walk around and say things like, all faith is nice, this person's got good principles. Okay, there's no problems. My friends, they're not Christians, but they're good principled people, so I spend my time with them. Great. But at the same time, at what point are we going to be able to wear our faith on our sleeves? So in the convention, someone asked, like, why is it wrong to be tattooed or something like that? And I found the answer of why we have crosses, something that I never knew, even though I have one, and I wish someone told me. I've gotten 17 other ones, although my mom would kill me. Okay? I found the answer so cool. This used to be branding. Like, you know in slavery, when they used to brand slaves, like burn a mark, like your owner is this guy on this plantation, so they like brand the number, like 987, okay, on his arm. So this is my slave, he's branded, okay? That's what they used to do to us. So in order for them to assure themselves that they won't let us get far in life, and I'm talking about whoever's persecuting us at the time, Annie, it doesn't matter. What they used to do is brand us with crosses. That was one of the first reasons. So they brand us, be like this person, so that they can make sure to treat you badly. At one point, I think Sabuna Cruz was saying, at one point even, I can't remember who was saying, they're saying at one point, there's a place, I forgot where it was, where like the people were not allowed to speak at the same level as a Christian. He had to be beneath you as a Christian because you were higher than him as a Muslim or whatever it be. So they would carry like, a Christian like had to carry like a stool or whatever it be, like so that like the person that would talk to them would be higher than them to shame them, yeah. Okay? So this is how they would brand us. The other reason was people started doing this for themselves. When they stopped doing it to us, we started doing it for ourselves so that you couldn't deny Christ in a moment of weakness. So like you're like, I don't want to deny him so bad that people start putting it on their foreheads, on their arms, so that if they come be like, are you Christian? Even if you're scared at that moment, khalas, what's done is done. It's on you, so like you get your crown, right? That's such a wonderful thing. And this is the third aspect of being zealous for God. Do I wear my faith on my sleeves? Do people know that I'm Christian? Do people know my principles? The other day, and this is no, like, I'm not telling you so you can, like, tattawa alayya, okay? But, like, I'm at work, and I tell you guys all the time, like, the dynamics at work are very difficult because you have to play a fine line of not being like the guy who's too good for everyone and judgmental, but at the same time to show that you have principles. And so it's a very tight balance that I always struggle with. And then, so one lady, and I can hear it, so I'm sitting down in like the office area, like where I'm sitting, and one of my assistants, who's super funny, she's a sweetheart, like I love her to death, but like it's not the same like type of atmosphere as we're used to. So she has this joke, and she's going around, and it's like downtime, lunchtime, she's going around telling everybody a joke. I can't hear what the joke is. All I can hear is she starts the joke, and every single person she goes to is crying. They're laughing so hard, this joke, like, I'm like, la hawla wa la quwwa, like this must be the joke of all time, okay? So then, I hear them whispering, do you think he'll like it? Okay? Speaking about me, the only male there at the moment at the present time. So do you think he'll like it? And one of the other secretaries goes to him and he's like, yeah, I'm not sure. And then she asks another one, she's like, do you think he'll appreciate this joke? And the other one's like, I wouldn't risk that one with him. So then she's like, I'm going to do it anyway. So she walks in and she's like, want to hear a joke? I'm like, no. And she's like, I'm going to tell you anyways. She tells me the joke. It's extremely like inappropriate. So she tells me the joke, and it's like, I have to admit, like part of me wanted to laugh, but I didn't want to make that like the next like step where they start telling me these things. So she tells me the joke, she's in tears laughing, even though it's the 15th time she said the joke. I'm like, Inti Magnuna. Anyways, everyone's laughing, and then they look at me and she's like, huh? And I'm like, no, get up right now. Okay? In a joking manner, I'm like, leave my face right now. Just leave me alone. And then she's like, yep, I knew it. And then the other one's like, I told you. I told you. That's what I mean. Like, are we afraid to be different? Are we afraid to be set apart? Are we afraid, like, to be somewhere, someone's talking about something, and we're like, I'm not interested. But why aren't you interested? What? Like, stop being such a nun or such a monk. Like, what's wrong with you? They'll even use the word when it describes a girl who wants to keep her chastity, or a man who wants to keep it, it'll be like, he's prude or she's prude. As if holding your chastity is the new insult of the century. It's like, yes, I am. No problems. Whatever you want. Like, what is the problem with us defending what is right and what is wrong? If the whole world moves one way, doesn't mean we're going to accept it. Right? Doesn't mean we're not going to follow suit. No, I didn't watch this movie. Why not? Because I don't think it'll be appropriate. No, don't speak that way. Right? It's like, it can't be something that is second for us to appear Christian. Not because we want to appear, but because we are. We are Christian. And it's wrong to not wear that on your sleeves. So the questions we have to ask ourselves is, where is zeal for God in my life? Everyone ask that question to yourself right now. Okay, in every aspect of your life, whether it be school, work, friends, whatever. Okay? Sit down, close your eyes, and tell yourselves, where is the zeal for Jesus in my life? And if you can't find it off the top of your head, then that's a problem. Because that is a big deal. Like, God is not our extracurricular activity. Okay? Being Christian is not our side thing. It is what we are.